there's still a lot of games we didn't get to, right? There's still a lot of storylines we didn't hit. So we'll do it here in quick hits. Around the league, quick thoughts on a bunch of different games I saw. Number 1, Bears-Giants. The Bears somehow are 2-0. No hyperbole. The Bears are one of the worst 2-0 teams I think I've ever seen. Up 17-0 on the Giants early on. Dominating that game. Mitchell Trubisky doesn't look great, but looks competent. And they are barely holding on to survive. You barely held on to beat the Lions in week 1. You are barely holding on to beat the Giants in week 2. Somehow they get 2 of those wins. But I'll tell you this. After needing a dropped DeAndre Swift touchdown in week 1, after needing a deflected pass on 4th down where a lineman catches the ball for the first down to keep the drive going, it just takes some time away, and having to hold on up for a goal line stand at the end of the game, I'm still very confident in saying this. The Bears will finish in last place in the NFC North. They are not a good team. Mitchell Trubisky is 2-0 in the stat line. Had a nice 4th quarter in week 1 against Detroit. He has not played well. He has not looked good. He has not really played well to really reconsider why there's a quarterback controversy in the first place, why the Bears declined his 5th-year option. He is just not impressed. I'm sorry. So sure, the Bears are 2-0 right now. I'm sure they're feeling good. They are still finishing last in the NFC North. So now when you actually play good teams, when maybe luck is not on your side as much as it was, they will get exposed. So that was one of my first thoughts. Another thought, I was very wrong about the Packers offense. We are looking at a Packers offense that is leading the league in points scored with 85. Through 2 games, they scored 85 points. Do you know how long it took last year for the Packers to score 85 points? 4 games. It took them double the time. As Matt LaFleur is trying to get his new offense implemented. Double the time. Aaron Rodgers, 6 touchdown passes through 2 games after getting no help this offseason. They signed Devin Funchess. He opted out. They didn't draft a receiver in a wide receiver deep draft. Didn't do it. There's some glaring holes that the Packers had coming off of the NFC title game loss, where if they address them, they could still have their window open. They could still win another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. He is showing right now he still has the talent to win. They neglected that. If anything, they started the rebuild. They traded up to draft a quarterback in week 1. They drafted, in round 1, in the draft. They drafted a running back, a position they did not need. Or at least if they plan on not resigning Aaron Jones, that's why he drafted a running back in round number 2. They're already looking towards the future. Aaron Rodgers so far is reminding everyone in the Packers organization, don't look towards the future just yet. I still got something. So I was personally expecting a major regression, to be honest, because the Packers offense didn't blow me away last year. It looked stale. It looked stagnant at times. Sure, there was a few games where it exploded. But for the most part, it was plodding. It was all or kind of nothing. It didn't really look out of, it didn't really look in sync. It looked out of sorts. And I thought that was going to get worse. So it gave nothing to help Aaron Rodgers out. Again, they already basically kicked him out, 1 foot out the door already by drafting a new quarterback. He is this year or next year before he's traded or cut. I thought this was it. I thought the offense would regress. Not been the case at all. Absolutely not been the case at all. Very impressive so far. Through 2 weeks again, 85 points, the highest scoring offense in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers. Props to them, I was wrong. Another offense I was wrong about, we'll stick on that theme. How about the Los Angeles Rams? Had my doubts because they were in trouble. Their offensive line was aging. They had running back injuries. Obviously, they cut Todd Gurley. So they're going to roll with a 3-headed monster of Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and Malcolm Brown. And when you have a quarterback that relies so much on play action in Jared Goff, that was most successful when the run game is working, he can go play action under center and throw the ball deep. I had serious reservations that offense would work. Again, I thought the running back offensive line combination got worse, and in doing so, I thought would have really bogged down the passing offense. But man, that has not been the case. The running game has been great so far. The play action game has been there, especially yesterday against the Eagles. Jared Goff was throwing the ball down the field, making a ton of completions. Where the running game got things going, sucked the Eagles linebackers in, sucked the secondary in. throwing the ball over the top. Jared Goff looked good, throwing a few nice passes. So through 2 games, I know it's early. Through 2 games, the Rams are looking a lot like their 2018 selves. They're looking a lot like the team that went to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Very impressed by the turnaround, again, because I thought they were in cap hell because I thought they were an older team kind of clinging to one last run here by signing and trading for a few big-time free agents, signing to long deals, kind of mortgaging their future to win now in the present. Through 2 games, it's working. So congrats to Sean McVay. He's no dummy, right? I think a lot of people got off the Sean McVay bandwagon last year. I had questions about Jared Goff. So far, so good. So far, so good. Impressive win over the Cowboys. Impressive win over the Eagles so far, if you're the Rams. Now, really, I should have started with this because this was the biggest takeaway from yesterday. And it's unfortunate. But, man, the injuries. There was carnage in week number 2 across the NFL. Saquon Barkley, feared torn ACL. Nick Bosa, Kyle Shanahan after the game basically said likely ACL tear. And Jimmy Garoppolo left the game with a high ankle sprain, won't start next week for the 49ers. Raheem Mostert for the 49ers left the game. The 49ers had 4 guys, including Solomon Thomas, leave the game alone yesterday. And guess what? That same turf they just played on with the Jets, they get to play on it again next week against the Giants. They are exciting things if you're a 49ers fan. Drew Lock, Broncos quarterback, AC sprain, out 2 to 6 weeks. Paris Campbell, knee injury for the Colts. Didn't look good. Malik Hooker, safety for the Colts. Possible blown Achilles. Anthony Barr at the Vikings got hurt. Byron Jones hurt his groin, didn't return. Probably won't play this Thursday night against the Jaguars if you're the Dolphins. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor had a chest injury. Christian McCaffrey hurt his ankle, did not return later in the 4th quarter against the Buccaneers. Straight up carnage. It was tough to watch. It was one of the most injury-riddled days to big-time names that I can remember in a really long time, if not ever. The most impactful of all these injuries I just listed, because there's a lot of big names in here. Saquon Barkley, Nick Bosa, Jimmy G, Drew Lock, Christian McCaffrey. To me, the most impactful, Nick Bosa. Second most important position on the NFL field, behind the quarterback, is a pass rusher. And while, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo is a big loss, to me, Nick Bosa, for how talented he is, how good that defensive line needs to be, and how much better he needs to be with the trade of DeForest Buckner. So you lessen and take one major piece away from that 49ers defensive line. You needed him to be even better than he was as a rookie. That's a major, major, major loss for the 49ers. That's a tough one to overcome. We'll see Nick Mullins. He played okay when he filled in for Jimmy G almost the entire year, 2 years ago, when Jimmy G tore his ACL early. I think Nick Mullins can ride the ship and just do enough to win these next few games. Keep the ship afloat. Keep the ship afloat when Jimmy Garoppolo comes back. But the most impactful one to me that's going to really hurt a team the most is Nick Bosa for the 49ers. How about the Cardinals? How about those Cardinals? Continue to impress. Now, again, it's the Washington football team. They had a nice win in week 1 over the Eagles. No one's expecting this team to be any good. They're not going to make the playoffs. Dwayne Haskins is going to be a project this year. But through the first 2 games so far, the Cardinals continue to impress. Because honestly, I really was concerned, at least, that the pressure, the hype would almost, suppress and add more pressure to this team that maybe wasn't exactly totally ready to win. All right, we've seen expectations go to teams' head. Look at the Browns last year. Now, the Cardinals were a spunky bunch. 5-10-1, so the record wasn't great. But you had Kyler Murray look good in that Cliff Kingsbury offense. You have some young weapons to throw the ball to. The offensive line was improving. But you had DeAndre Hopkins. And this team looks really good. This offense has looked very solid so far. You got a nice, impressive win on the road week 1 in San Francisco last week. And you just continue to take care of business in week 2. Because guess what? As easy as that sounds, that's what good teams do in the NFL. Good teams win the games they're supposed to win. So you have Kyler Murray right now playing really well, getting it done with his legs, getting it done with his arm, not overlooking opponents, I should say. And this playoff hype is real. This playoff hype is really real. And earlier, Texans fans had told you don't look at DeAndre Hopkins' stat line. If you're listening right now, I suggest you turn the radio off for about 10 or 20 seconds because you talk about having a new favorite toy. DeAndre Hopkins in 2 games has had 21 receptions. 21. Kyler Murray is looking his way often. And love having a guy that's basically a vacuum out there as the number 1 target. So the Cardinals continue to impress. Great start to the season where there's a lot of hype. You go win in a really impressive game that I don't think many people had you winning week 1. Going on the road to the defending NFC champions who are hungry to get back to a Super Bowl that return a lot of their same guys. Impressive win week 1. You just build up that with a nice, solid win, dominating win over the Washington football team. So far, so good if you're a Cardinals fan. They continue to impress and continue to, at least so far, back up the playoff hype. Good for them. And finally, I hope you didn't miss this. But the crowd noise, I'm curious your thoughts about the crowd noise so far. To me, actually, I thought I'd hate it. I've liked it so far. I think it's worked. I think it adds a little bit of a normality element to watching the game. It makes it feel more real, more normal. But obviously, in the back of your mind, it's a team controlling it. So the reaction maybe isn't always as genuine as it's going to be. Maybe it's a little too loud for a 3-yard run. Maybe it's just quiet after a bad play. Right? Normally the home team would boo. Well, since you could control that, we'll just make it a little bit quieter. The cheers will just go down a little bit. We won't boo. We just won't, we won't be as enthusiastic. How about Philadelphia Eagles crowd noise? It is as realistic as any team has done the crowd noise. And you had the NBA do it, the MLB do it, now the NFL through 2 weeks do it. No one's crowd noise is as realistic as Philly's. After Carson Wentz incompletion, I'm going to pull it up here for you. There was booing. There was legitimate booing from the Eagles crowd. If you don't believe me here, let me just stop the music for a second here. Take a listen. This is after a Carson Wentz incompletion when Eagles were down 21-9. This is, again, no fans in the stands. In Philadelphia, there's no fans. So obviously we've seen some fans in some stadiums, right? The Colts had some fans. The Cowboys had some fans. There's no fans in Philadelphia. So this is all the stadium crowd noise. Take a listen after Carson Wentz throws an incompletion, what the fan noise was.
Wentz, too tall for Zach Ertz. And now 4th down will bring the punt team back on for the Eagles. John Johnson out there in the coverage.
You hear that? The boos. Those are real boos. So credit to Citizens, to Lincoln Financial Field, whoever's running the crowd noise. They had the boos ready. They had Philadelphia ready. That encapsulated the Philly crowd perfectly. First time I've ever heard boos anywhere. Even for the away team, I've never even heard boos. Right? If an away team scores a touchdown, it's just quiet. There's no boos. There's no jeering. To boo the home team is incredible. Incredible. I'll give you a lot of credit, Philly. You are making it a true home field advantage. That was awesome. Philadelphia. The most realistic crowd noise. Definitely par for the course. That is too funny. I can't imagine the fans, wherever that noise is coming from, were too happy as the game went on. Love that. So those are the week 2 quick hits around the league. Any of your thoughts? Right, because we hit on a few specific points, but if you're a fan of a team we didn't hit on. How about the Bills? I know I didn't get into the Bills that much. Josh Allen looks really good. I might be eating my words with Josh Allen. I picked the Bills to win the AFC East, but what was my big caution? What was my big concern? I thought that the Bills were a great team outside of the quarterback. I did not think Josh Allen had what it takes to be a consistent quarterback to win you games week in and week out. So far, through 2 games now again. It's the Jets and the Dolphins. So, let's not overreact. And Josh Allen has had his moments of looking puzzled, to say the least, making some interesting decisions. Ball security be damned. But he's looked good so far. He's playing really well so far. So credit to him. No problem admitting to you when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Cam Newton's talent, not his durability, his talent. I was wrong about Josh Allen's talent so far. So far, so good if you're a Buffalo fan.